There's virus out there. Do I dare? Do I? Looking for good days in dark times. I find them in the park. To be clear, in Washington state, I'm under a stay-at-home order, but the governor and his health advisors say walking is okay. So I am walking. Pretty much every day I'm in this park. In March, I logged over 200,000 steps. For April, I want to do 300,000. This is the eastern rim of a glacial ravine. Down there at the bottom is a brook and a trail. Last time I took you with me into the park, I was huffing up these steps. Down is easier, much easier. The trail bridges over the creek back and forth in 3 places. The woods around here are lush. We get so much rain. Now maybe it's the dread of the pandemic weighing on me, but I worry about the health of the forest. So many trees and branches are down, and I don't know, is this normal for a forest? The ferns? They're thriving. The moss? Doing very well. But why are so many trees down? I don't know. I'm a city boy. I have zero forest expertise. This one looks like it's taking a nap by the side of the creek. These, leaning against the hill, are just resting. Maybe that's it. Here's a couple that lost their tops, I guess, in a windstorm. And another. Some of the big ones just seem to lose their footing and fall over. I'm guessing that's the rain, turning the ground to a gooey mud that loses its grip on the roots. If you've ever done any weeding, it's hard to conceive tearing a tree out by its roots. But here it is. The prophet Jeremiah said, like a tree planted by water that sends out its roots by the stream and does not fear when the heat comes, for its leaves remain green. Jeremiah lived in Judea, not in Seattle. The evidence of humans intrudes everywhere. What happened here? What's the story here? Why was this tree sliced up? And when? And this, how did this giant go down? And where's the rest of it? Lumber? Firewood? Before this was a park, this was a working forest. Over a century ago, there was commercial logging here. Ah, the second bridge. I keep wanting to call this a brook, but officially it's a creek. It's Denny Creek. And we can talk about Mr. and Mrs. Denny later. What's the difference between a brook and a creek? Don't make me Google it. Do you know? See, I think it's that creeks are more seasonal. What you gonna do when the creek runs dry? Lord willing and the creek don't rise. I love this sound. Especially now, it washes away my dread and sadness. At least while I'm here, it washes away my fury at the way the federal government is misleading and mismanaging this crisis. On to bridge number 3. Different design, different construction. Not nearly so rustic, just kind of plain. Older? Probably. Onward. More evidence of humans. Now, I wonder when this was built, and why. And I wonder when it was tagged. Oh, look, thumbnail. Have a good day. So what's on the inside? Whoa. A little bit anatomical there. Not only anatomical, but there is an invitation scrawled on the wall next to the anatomical bit.
And I don't think you can accept that invitation and still maintain proper social distancing. Besides, the artist did not leave his name. It's unsigned.
Did I say there were 3 bridges? Well, here's a 4th. Actually, by age, it's the first bridge, but I'm not counting it because it's on a different trail and I'm headed this way, crossing from Big Fin Hill Park into O.O.Denny Park for a rendezvous with history and a visit with a spectacular tree. Caution. I will be cautious. More evidence of rain even when it's dry out, and another reminder of civilization crumbling out from under us. Metaphor much? Well, I did promise you an amazing tree, and I hope I haven't oversold it, because it's right over there. And there. All right, it's pretty amazing. You want to see it? Ladies and gentlemen, Sylvia.
Look at this. This tree, very big. It's big.
Sylvia, the only tree in the park with a name tag. Kids come by and greet it by name. Hello, Sylvia. This is a Douglas fir. It's the biggest tree in King County, over 26 feet around. It was 255 feet tall. That's 78 meters, as tall as a 24-story building. I say was, because in 1993, on the very day Bill Clinton was inaugurated as president, a mighty wind laid low the top 200 feet of Sylvia. Gone. Well, not gone, but fallen. Sylvia is 600 years old. This tree was around when King Henry V was on the throne of England. This tree was around when the only people on this land were the Duwamish, the first people. So let me acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish people, past and present. And let me dedicate this video to the Duwamish tribe and to one other person, a member of the Denny family. Orion Denny used to own this place, 47 acres of it. He was the son of one of the founders of the city of Seattle, Arthur Denny. The founders named the city for a chief of the Duwamish and Suquamish people. They took his name and his people's lands. His native name, in his own language, has a sound that we don't have in English. Closest I can come is Siak. The founders simplified that to Seattle. Hard to picture that when the Denny party arrived here in 1851, this was all forest. In 1900, Orion Denny bought a large stretch of lakefront property for a summer home. That would be here. But the real hero of this story is his widow, his third wife, Helen Denny. She willed her home and her 47-acre backyard to the city of Seattle for a park in memory of her husband. If it weren't for Helen Denny, I wouldn't be walking here today. Well, this is the end of the trail. We're done. I mean, there's nothing left but boring parts, parking lot, a roadway, some lawn. Oh, and Lake Washington. Well, I would like to show you how Denny Creek empties into Lake Washington, so let's go for a big cliche finish. Cue the banjo. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay home. And thanks for taking this walk with me. Until next time, I'm Mikola. Epilogue. It looks like my world just got a little smaller. Yesterday, I went to the park and... Uh-oh. The state of Washington says it's okay to walk in the parks, but the county, King County, has closed all their parks, including Big Fin Hill Park, where I started this video. However, the city of Kirkland, keeps O.O.Denny Park open, as long as you maintain proper social distancing.
DVD extras. It looks like I have this huge park all to myself, but that's an illusion created by patience and editing. In reality, I run into a couple dozen people each time I come in here, and a whole bunch of dogs. Apologies for mangling the Lushootseed pronunciation of the authentic name of Chief Seattle. Seattle is about as close as I can get, but I'll give you a link in the down. You can hear Vi Hilbert tell you exactly how to pronounce Chief Seattle's name in Lushootseed. O.O.Denny had one other distinction that I haven't mentioned yet, but when he died, one of the local papers headlined it. I don't know if they'd write this today. Sorry to add that the hero of this video, Helen Denny, met a very sad end. After her husband passed, she moved to L.A., where she remarried, very quickly divorced, sued to get her name changed back to Helen Denny, but she grew despondent and died of suicide. Arthur and Orion Denny and many of the other early Seattle pioneers are buried in the same cemetery, Lakeview Cemetery, and that's become kind of a tourist attraction, although people don't go there to see the Dennys. No, the big draw is the grave of Bruce Lee and his son Brandon. Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco, grew up in Hong Kong, but he came to Seattle for schooling, and he started his career teaching martial arts here. He thought of Seattle as his home. One final DVD extra. Another hero of O.O.Denny Park, FDR, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Back in the Depression, when we faced an unemployment crisis as big as the one we face now, the government sprang into action. The New Deal sprang into action, and one of the elements was called the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps. They put hundreds of thousands of young people to work, teenagers, men in their 20s, and they sent them all over the country to develop and improve public lands. It was the CCC in the 1930s that developed the first trails and bridges in this park, as well as the picnic areas. Here endeth the extras. One more reminder, stay home, stay safe, stay healthy.